Doing it this way, it will help you increasing it stronger in those movements. And if you get stronger in those movements, you get stronger in every other movement as well. Yo, what's up, you guys? Welcome to the Macro Hour with Nikkiey, co-founder of WarriorBabe. And on this podcast, we talk about mindset, methodologies, and tactics that will help you lose body fat, build muscle, be strong, and feel insanely confident. I am your host, Nikkiey, and welcome you guys to episode number 53, where I am going to share with you guys my top 3 exercises to building muscle. And then we're going to dive into speaking again to progressive overload techniques. I talked about progressive overload in earlier episodes, but it still gets to be a question of topic from you guys all throughout my social media channels and wanting to just know more about progressive overload. So we're going to dive into that too as well. But first, let's kick it off with talking about these top exercises that I recommend for building muscle and why. So they are, it's not some groundbreaking answer, squat, deadlift, and bench press. So these compound movements mixed in with some isolated movements, like for example, let's just speak to a leg day. You're going to hit your squats, right? And then you're going to finish your workout with isolated movements like leg extensions, hamstring curls, glute kickbacks, and so on. Okay, but why these 3 are so important, and if you want to do it the right way, is knowing how much you guys can max out in a 1 rep max with these 3 movements. So what I mean by that, and why I love the squat, deadlift, and bench press. You guys, you're probably like, Nikkiey, that's powerlifting. Man, that can be anything related to building muscle, okay? And what I've taught our warrior babes in our blueprint program is how to, in a maintenance build phase, specifically program their workouts around these 3 main lifts, and then use isolation exercises to help even build up the muscles too as well around those 3, or fatigue those muscles even more too as well. And then break them down. Obviously, post exercise, you build them up by proper recovery and nutrition. But like I said, if you want to do this the right way, and these are some serious takeaways, you guys, and tactics that you can start implementing into your routine, tomorrow or next week. But you really taking your squat, taking your deadlift, and taking your bench press, finding what you can truly max out in those specific lifts. And then then you would take that number and you would take a percentage of that number and progressively program it weekly into your workouts and aim for a percentage of it. So for example, it's let's talk about week 1. It's okay, for week 1, I now have, you just did a testing week, right? So you tested your squat, your deadlift, and your bench press for max. Okay, the following week, you're going to take a percentage of that max. Let's do 65% to start. And you'll do whatever rep range, 6, 8, 10, 12 that you want to do in the squat for as many sets, okay? Starting out. That would be your first lift of the day for your workout. And then you would do all the isolation exercises that come with that specific movement, right? And so then what I mean by progressive overload, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in depth in a second, but then week 2, you will take, again, the percentage of your max, but let's up it to, instead of 65%, let's increase it by 5% to 70%. And then you would do X amount of reps and X amount of sets here in this given week. So you're increasing your weight here on a weekly basis. That is a form of progressive overload. Okay. And then week 3, you up it to 75% and so on and so on and so on. And you throw in a deload week and you throw in another testing week. And doing it this way, it will help you increasing it stronger in those movements. And if you get stronger in those movements, you get stronger in every other movement as well. So these are some things I love to speak to as it being a non-scale victory, right? Throw the scale out the window when you're trying to make some progress of building muscle, as I spoke in the last episode, because A non-scale victory is like you being able to go up in those percentages, aka lifting more weight on a weekly basis and doing it in a smart way that is progressive overload. That is a technique of progressive overload, increasing in your weight, playing around with some sets, playing around with some reps, yada, yada, yada. You do it right? Like you are progressive overload. You are gradually increasing the difficulty of your workouts to continue challenging your muscles. And so you're getting stronger, you're helping increase your strength, and that is a non-scale victory, right? You're increasing in your strength in the gym. And if you're increasing your strength in the gym, you're getting stronger and you're building muscle, which is amazing. Okay. If you're not increasing the weight or you're not increasing the intensity of your workouts over time, your muscles may not continue to grow and adapt. Okay. That's where I like to say, man, if you're just going through the motions on a weekly basis, or you're changing up your freaking workout every single day and it's something different, then over time, your muscles may not continue to grow or adapt. And so like, if you're doing that, or you're not doing it and you're like inconsistent, or you're doing something different every single day, or you're not, challenging yourself and you're just going through the motions, man, 6 months from now, you could be like, or even a year from now, you could be banging your head into a freaking wall being like, man, why am I not seeing the results that I want of putting on more muscle? Why am I not getting stronger? That's why, because you're doing all these different things and you're not consistent. Like, let me say this, you guys. Eating the same thing is boring. Doing the same workouts is boring, right? Nothing about working out and eating right, is sometimes fun. It's the boring work. And that's why, you see all these people online, these influencers, showing all of the freaking workouts. They're just doing it for Instagram. That probably ain't the workout they're actually doing. So know that following the same workout program for 6 to 8 weeks and doing the same exercises every single day may sound boring, but if you're doing it the right way, as I'm sharing with you guys here and these tactics that I'm giving you, then you're going to see strength and improvement in your lifts and in your body. Okay. So hashtag do the boring work. Let's just make that a thing. Okay, so those are some high level tactics, right? I talked about the percentages. I talked about going after your 1 max reps. I talked about the squat, deadlift, and the bench press. Now I want to discuss the importance of progressive overload and how it can help you maximize muscle growth. Okay, so you can take those 3 exercises that I just said. You can go figure out your maxes. You can go and program percentages on a weekly basis. You can figure out what are some isolation exercises to do. If you don't want to figure that out, check out WarriorBabe. The programs are below this podcast right now. We can do it all for you, but you can start doing this literally tomorrow. Okay, so with those 3 lifts and how you progressive overload, I already spoke to some weight and some rep schemes and all this stuff. But first, I want you guys to know what progressive overload is in a little bit more elaboration form that I've already spoke to. So it promotes muscle growth and adaptation. It increases strength and it prevents plateaus. And some of you guys are like, Nikki, let's talk about the plateaus first. First, let me say, as you continue to increase the stress placed on the muscles, the body will always continually adapt, resulting in ongoing progress and gains in strength and your muscle mass. Okay. With increasing strength, you increase the weight, you increase the resistance used in any specific given exercise, and that challenges the muscle and forces them to work harder. And so as the muscles adapt to this increased stress, they become stronger, allowing you to lift heavier weights and to perform more challenging exercises. And again, this results in ongoing gains in strength, ongoing gains in your muscle mass, and all of the things. Okay. Now, preventing plateaus. Hey, just want to drop a huge appreciation to you guys listening to the show. It means a lot. I hope you guys are enjoying it, and there's so much more to come with it. If you are enjoying it, hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate that tons. And also, it would help this podcast reach others who need to hear these messages too. Thanks so much, guys. Let's get back to the show. If you continue to perform the same exercises with the same weight and the same resistance, your body will eventually become too comfortable with that routine and stop making progress. This is what I mean by you cannot just walk into the gym and just go through the motions and be like, I showed up for my workout today. Woo, that's a win, and do that consistently for 6 weeks. If you're not physically challenging yourself, I always say, in the last 3 reps of a set, then like, what are you doing with your workout? Like, you might as well just wash it as a waste of your time. Like, show up there, do the work, put in the work, and challenge yourself. Okay. So when you do these things, I'm about to share with you guys different techniques that you can implement with progressive overload. It ensures that the body is continually challenged and it's being forced to adapt, and it's preventing plateaus. Like, the way you can break through plateaus, sometimes it's not even like playing around with your nutrition. It's just like, yo, you got to work a little bit harder in the gym. No joke. I am not kidding you. Like, there's been some instances where I've worked with clients and I'm like, so talk to me about your workouts. What are you doing in them? Like, I know what I program for you, but like, sometimes I'll even dive into their weights that they're using. I'm like, dude, I know they can go a little bit heavier than that. And this is what our coaches do too as well. It's like, I'll overanalyze some like a program and be like, and like, if there's like not results that I want to see yet, and I know that we're in a deficit, I know we're doing all the other right things. So then I'll be like, okay, let's check out this intensity that you're doing inside of your workouts. Let's check it out. Let's question it. Because literally, like, by you just turning the notch up in the gym, literally can help you break through a plateau. Okay. So those are just, again, diving a little bit more into progressive overload and what it means. But some of these tactics that you could implement to break through plateaus, to always continually adapt the body to, I'm not saying you do this, you apply these tactics every single day. You try like a different technique every week or every 2 weeks or in every single program. I like to do every single like block, right? So like, I have clients follow maybe a 4 to 6 week block or a 6 to 8 week block. And that next block is going to have some type of different progressive overload technique involved in it. Now, in the blocks, we're always trying to work on increasing weights, playing around with rep schemes, playing around with set schemes, and all that kind of stuff. So I have 6 specific techniques that you guys can use and take away today. The first one I already spoke to is increasing resistance and increasing weight. So gradually just increasing the weight used in any given exercise, and is one of the most common forms of progressive overload. Adding reps, adding sets, I already spoke to that too as well. So increasing the number of reps or sets performed in a given exercise. It also creates progressive overload and forces the muscles to work a little bit harder. I'm always playing with those numbers inside of one block. But these forward ones, you can just try either on a weekly basis or again, just in different blocks. So the third one is decreasing rest time between sets. So what I mean by that is like reducing the amount of time taken between your sets can increase the overall demand on the muscle and promote muscle growth and adaptation. So going from like 2 minutes on a break on like a back squat 1 week to like 1 minute the next, that little change will increase the overall demand of your muscle and promote them to work a little bit harder and to adapt a little bit more. No joke. It's a game changer. Do a 2 week period or 2 minute rest period. And then the next week, try a minute rest period, or like try like a month of doing 2 minutes. And then the next month, try a 1 minute rest time. It catches up to you, but it feels so damn good. Increasing the speed of the movement would be number 4. So performing an exercise at like a faster pace. So like tempo work, right? Like you may see people say do like a tempo 4-0-1-0, or then maybe the next week it's a 3-0-1-0, or the following week it's a 2-0-1-0, right? This creates too a greater demand on the muscles and promotes the progressive overload and promotes the growth and adaptation to be happening too as well. So tempo work, right? Increasing the speed of the movement, aka tempo work, or slowing down, vice versa, slowing down the speed of the movement. So that's number 4. Number 5 is a variation in exercises. So for example, drop sets, right? Drop sets can be considered a form of progressive overload and a variation in exercises. So they involve performing a set of an exercise to failure, then immediately reducing the weight and continuing to perform additional reps until failure again. And this creates demand on the muscle and forces them to work harder, which again, doing all of these things promotes growth and promotes adaptation to the muscle. So by continually increasing the stress placed on the muscle, drop sets can be used as a form of you implementing these progressive overload techniques, and it can help you see some serious gains. Like drop sets are pretty freaking brutal, and try putting them at the end of your workout. They're nasty good. So that's number 5, a variation. Exercises, drop sets as an example. And then number 6, which is eccentric training. So focusing on the eccentric or the negative portion of the lift, meaning like, again, like I already spoke to, like tempo work here is a great example in placing more time under tension. Time under tension is a big thing, you guys. Slowing down the movement, mixing in what I said with like 4 and 6 here. I said 4 is increasing the speed of the movement. 6 is the opposite, as I said, slowing down the movement, putting more time under tension. So like, think about it. You got a barbell squat, right? And you're lowering in the negative portion of the lift. And all of a sudden, man, like you're like, it burns, right? And vice versa, all of the other things that you could potentially be doing in other lifts as well, in the negative portion of the lift. And this can be more effective at inducing muscle damage. And from there, because you're breaking down the muscle inside of the gym, you will then, you're creating the muscle damage, you're creating the muscle tears and the fibers and all that stuff. Post-workout, obviously promoting the growth is what you're going to be doing when you're eating right and recovering right. So those are 6 ways that you can incorporate progressive overload with those types of techniques into your routine. Like I said, you don't want to try it every single day, but you can try it like in block periods. And then overall, using the broad perspective of what I shared with you with max reps, and then doing percentages to your max reps. And then you could even so much do like 5x5s or like 5 sets of 5, and then work to like 4 sets of 5, and then 3 sets of 5, or 3 sets of 5 to start, and then 5 sets of 5, and 5 sets or 3 sets of 5, then 4 sets of 5, then 5 sets of 5, right? So there's a plethora of different ways that you guys can incorporate these types of techniques into your workout programming. Now, some of you are like, I don't fucking feel like doing that, right? Like I am that way. I don't like programming my own workouts. I have someone do that for me, and there's no shame in having a coach do this for you. So if you want this done for you, apply for our VIP program. Our coaches, we have 30 coaches on team. They will work with you personally to put together a program that works exactly for you and help you identify these numbers and all of the jazz, help you build muscle. And more importantly, know that every time you walk into the gym, you have your plan. You just open up the app and it's like right there, and you don't even have to think about it. I love that. Like I always say, our coaches take out the thinking thought process for you to be successful with your workout program, the things that you should be eating on a daily basis, all this stuff. Okay. So that information about the program is below this podcast. Check it out. But that wraps up the podcast for today. All of the things with the 3 exercises to build muscle, finding your 1 max rep, progressive overload techniques, using the 1 max rep and breaking it down in percentages for you guys to focus on how to get stronger, non-scale victories, yada, 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 and then dove into those progressive overload techniques. So I hope you found this super helpful, and I'll catch you guys in the next podcast. Peace out. Real quick, the only ask I could ever have of you guys is to help spread the word so we can help more women lose body fat, build muscle, reach their goals, and feel insanely confident. And the only way we can do that is if you rate, review, and share this podcast. So the single thing I ask for you to do is if you could leave a review. It will take you 10 seconds, and it will mean the absolute world to me and may change the world of someone else.